Hello?
Hi.
Oh, you have a Skype. Okay, hi. How are you?
Hi. We just appeared on your board as a Skype?
Well, yeah, it says sniffing chocolate. There's a call from somebody, but I didn't know you guys were live on the Skype, so glad to have you. I'm Asian Gavin McInnes, if our friend here doesn't know that.
It's Faith Goldie. Nice to see you, Asian Gavin.
Faith Goldie. We all need a little faith. Goldie.
Faith Goldie here is a colleague of mine over at Rebel Media. She's here reporting on the Orlando shooting. She's talking to people on the street, and
That's right.
you'll be coming to the press conference today.
I'll be coming to the press conference today. I'm looking forward to it. I can't believe Milo just got banned. You know, I just met him for the very first time in your life. Way taller than I expected.
You know, it's funny. When you see him, you think, well, there's got to be a catch. He must be a dwarf.
Yeah.
And no, he's
No
giant.
dwarfism there.
Good body.
Yeah.
He's a catch.
Plays for the wrong team.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think you could still... I'm going to make out with him.
Gavin, what about your wife and kids?
Well, I don't mean I'm going to make out with him in the privacy of my own hotel room. I'm at the end of the press conference today. I think we should both make out.
Okay, well, I don't know. As a hardcore Catholic, that's not really my shtick, but you do you, bud.
Well, I'm not enjoying it.
And that's the qualifier.
Seriously, though, it's not like I'm going to have a boner. We're going to... I think we should wrap it up, and like he'll do a talk, and then I'll do a little mini one, and then we'll say, and to Islam, from a gay man and a straight man, we'd like to say, wow, wow, wow.
It's just so long as I'm not the one who has to make out with you, I'm good with it.
Why? What's
I'm spoken for. So welcome to Orlando, bud.
Thanks, bud. I'm sorry, your accent is so thick I have trouble understanding you.
Come on.
Folks, we're going to have subtitles on the screen when Faith talks. Can we do that?
Eh?
Can we do that so people know what she's talking about? What have you learned since you've been here so far?
That people are totally out of it. I mean, by and large, the people that I have talked to, either they've accepted almost the fact that this is the new normal, that, you know, Islamist attacks on America are just going to pop up every now and then, and we're going to have to deal with it. Or the Islam component is not even a part of their equation. For them, it's about guns and broad no, it's true, and broad brush homophobia.
Yeah, it is about homophobia. Islamic homophobia.
Yeah, which is totally articulated in the Quran, in the Hadith, which, by the way, is what Muhammad said, so it's not really like a fringe part of the religion. And the whole stoning them and killing them when they commit acts of homosexuality, it's right in the text.
Right there.
Right there. It's not. So I kind of get a kick out of your president down here telling us that, you know, he won't use Islamic terrorism as a definer for Omar Mateen, because what Omar Mateen believed is not really fringe when it comes to, you know, the central text articulating it, and 11 countries going ahead and killing gays, and 100 million people, living under those regimes. So it's not really fringe. It is Islam, the norm. And so I wish Obama would just go ahead and use the term that best describes this guy, and that's an Islamist terrorist. He
actually had a press conference this morning where he talked about the term, and that was his conference. He said, it's just a term, radical Islamization. It doesn't make a difference whether I say it or not. And then he just did a thing about saying that word, but then refused to say the word. It was fucking insane.
Yeah, well, it's like this Orwellian newspeak, right?
Yes.
And it actually has happened. I watched, as soon as I landed in Orlando, I turned on the news, and for half an hour I was listening to it. And it's like, from caring to courage, and like, please love, unity, and respect. And the word Islam and ISIS were not mentioned once. Meanwhile, this guy, Omar Mateen, pledged allegiance to ISIS. ISIS claimed responsibility, and they're now using him as a propaganda doll. And we are only telling half the story here. So the poor Americans that aren't doing their own research are just buying this narrative, and Orwell's dystopia is becoming United States of America 2016. It's depressing.
You know, the thing that scares me about this, using Islam, using guns and other things as a scapegoat, is I saw this in Paris where there was no guns.
Right.
So they didn't have guns as a scapegoat, and they still wouldn't blame Islam. And in fact, when Ezra and I went to northern Paris and talked to Muslims, we must have heard Jews 10 times. It was the Jews. And you think, I'm starting to worry that we simply cannot explain to these people that Islam is against them, and it's going to be getting worse. And you don't have to tolerate that.
It's because our political and media elites believe that the greatest threat to America right now is Islamophobia, not Islamic terrorism. And that the people in this country are more afraid of being labeled racist than being killed by Islamic terrorism.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. Islamophobia is a major problem in America, and it's called Islamophobia phobia. We are so scared of Islamophobia, we're literally dying to not offend. And I have a crazy theory I want to run past
Let's do this.
about Barack Obama. What about this? I think he's scared of Muslims. I think he's seen the kind of havoc they can wreak. So when he says things like, I'm not going to say that word, and we're not going to slight the Prophet of Muhammad, it's not, we're not going to slight the Prophet Muhammad. It's, we're not going to slight the Prophet Muhammad. Just please, please, leave us alone. I don't want to start a war.
Right.
So he keeps trying to appease them, not because he loves them, but because he's fucking petrified of them.
Well, because he believes his own BS. Remember that him, as well as Hillary Clinton as head of State Department, they believed that the Benghazi attack was our fault for making a video.
Oh, right, yeah.
That the Twin Towers came down because of American foreign policy. That you know, Omar Mateen was out there because he was a closet homosexual, and this the mental gymnastics you have to do to get into these people's heads. But they believe their own BS, and it sometimes 1 + 1 just equals 2. These people have a crazy ideology, and they're executing the ideology, and we're letting it happen, and people are dying. It's pretty simple.
Well, I always say to those people, I go, okay, our foreign policy is bad, gotcha, and there was a video that made people mad at Benghazi. Why did a Pakistani man in Britain throw acid in his daughter's face when she refused to marry the guy he wanted to marry? How did I do that? How is that my fault? Was that my foreign policy that threw acid in her face? And why are there more attacks on Muslim soil? In Pakistan, they went in and shot up a mosque because the imam, who was a devout Muslim, promoted the wrong fucking cleric. I don't know.
Right, but this is a strange bedfellowship, and it's the left and Muslims, and what they share is an underlying hatred for the West. And we on the right, all us commentators have said, you better be careful, folks on the left, because there are some things you believe in, like gay rights, but you're going to run in direct conflict with the Muslims. And sure enough, it's come to fruition this weekend in Orlando, Florida.
They're so tolerant, they're tolerating the intolerant.
Did you like that? Okay, check it out. I got a whole comedy show called How's It Going, Eh? You just have to click right here to subscribe.